We're back at the Will Sims podcast. I've got Brendan Clarke here, bass player extraordinaire, musician extraordinaire, songwriter. Got your new EP that's coming out. And we'll also shout out, we got Hilly Jude hanging out. So, just in case you hear a voice coming out of the ether, it's probably Hilly throwing some input in. We were joking earlier because I was saying how we were having a rehearsal earlier, and we were basically listening to my new record, and everyone was just kind of practicing the part, playing the part songs together for the first time because I want to try to do them this year. But it was basically we were at one of my bass players' house, Randy, and then she was there. She's going to be playing bass with me.
Oh no!
And then I don't know if you know Chris Cornwell. He's been playing with Phantasm and stuff, but he started out playing bass for me. But he was there playing guitar.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
And then I have a bass player. I have a bass guitar, and then the other drummer that came in, he grabbed a bass guitar.
Yeah.
And then so I was just it's just a day of bass players. We should have just all played bass.
Thump, man.
That's what I was saying. I really want a picture of every one of us that plays the bass together.
Yeah.
For him at some point together in a set.
I mean, Brendan and I have done gigs
bases
together before, so
So
it's kind of funny how that works.
All the way up to New Jersey and Pittsburgh and where else?
Yeah, you've done many gigs with me, but you've been playing out pretty regularly lately. I think you've been doing a lot of your own gigs.
Yeah.
You've you've got your own EP coming. I mean, you were I pretty much knew you as the bass player for Old Eastern for a long time, but you've kind of branched out and kind of got a lot of your own stuff going on, which is really cool. And I know you still play with a lot of different people too. But yeah, man, I think the big thing right now is this EP you've got coming out.
I'm excited for it.
What made you kind of decide to go along and do that?
Well, so there's two answers to it. The focus of this EP is to capture sort of the post-Christmas, maybe between Christmas and New Year's feeling, maybe up until around now. You've had Thanksgiving, you've had Christmas, you've had New Year's, all the holidays, all the fun is done, and it's sort of that full belly, content, but also kind of melancholy that it's all over. So I'm trying to capture that, but there's also a lot of beauty in this time of year because the snow, frozen ponds, there's a lot of cool things to see. It's just quiet, it's a little more peaceful. So the goal was actually to write songs that would fit on New Year's Rockin' Eve, because everybody knocks that, they knock the music on it. And I wanted to write songs that would fit in that setting. The finished product doesn't sound anything like that, but that was the frame of mind I went into it with.
I definitely got that vibe. That definitely felt I don't know when you recorded this, but I assume the songs were kind of written around that time. But I know you've got Queen of Winter and New Year's Resolution. I kind of was getting that winter.
Yeah.
Kind of. I feel a lot of people feel isolated in the winter. Not a lot of people want to go out.
Yeah.
There's kind of that disconnect after the holidays. So I'm glad you said that because I was definitely feeling that story there.
I don't know if I can take credit for all of Queen of Winter, because the story with that one is my friend got an unsolicited love poem on Instagram, and that was the words of Queen of Winter.
Okay. Interesting.
Right? She sent it to me on Snap, and I was like, oh, that's weird. You want to see something even weirder? And I just tracked out a little guitar thing with it, and she's like, I'm sending this back to the guy. I don't know where it ended up, but that's where the lyrics came from.
Now,
I've actually gotten jobs that way.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
No way.
That's what I was saying a minute ago.
Yeah.
I like to fangirl real hard. I'll tell people I love their music. Can I have a lesson with them? And they'll be like, wait, you can really write. Not kidding. That's how I've gotten any gig.
Hell yeah.
It's funny, too, because I just had Derek Credito on yesterday, and I know him primarily for playing bass. He's releasing an album, too, around the same time.
Oh, cool.
And he kind of approached it through the lens of writing off of the bass. Did you kind of do that with a lot of the songs too? Or I know you play guitar too, so I was just curious.
That's a good question. The Queen of Winter definitely, because it's all that riff. Pio Hito's more on guitar. that actually, I stole a lot of the chords from a band I was in college called GWB.com. It had a song, I can't even remember the name of it, but the chords are almost the same. Like, I got the idea for it, so little props to GWB.com circa 2014.
Nice.
And then, what are the other ones? New Year's resolutions, and I started writing something to sound like Blackbird, Paul McCartney Beatles song. So that's more of a guitar song. And then the other one, Save Me Girl, that one is probably, I started on bass for it. So it's kind
That's
of
cool.
the rundown.
I was just curious. It's just a very bass heavy weekend, and so we got to have respect for the bass. Cool, man. So, like I said, I primarily met you through playing with Old Eastern. You've been playing with them for years, and you guys have written tons of great music. But and we'll get into all that too. But tell me a little bit how you got started playing music, and like what kind of music was inspiring you to pick up instruments. I know you play trumpet too. I'm sure there's probably other stuff, other secrets.
Yep. There's a clarinet and a mandolin under the couch that sometimes get played with. No, I got into music. It's gonna sound dark, but one day my dad in fourth or fifth grade was like, you're not very strong, you're not very fast. You should probably learn an instrument. You're not gonna be an athlete, or you will, but you're not gonna go anywhere with it. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. Why would I do that? And then a trumpet showed up. And I could make the mouthpiece make the noise like right away, and so they're like, "Oh, get him playing that thing." So I was in marching band, I was in symphonic band, a couple musicals, and guitar came about because there was one at the house, and I started learning it, and kind of went from there. Did lessons. I minored in music in college. Got really. I was really into skateboarding in middle and some of high school, and the songs that were in the skate videos inspired me a lot. And I kind of started. There was like a day when I was playing more music than skateboarding. So that's kind of how I landed where I am now.
Nice. What bands were in that skate scene at the time?
So the part that sticks out to me would be Billy Marx's part in Toy Machine's Good and Evil. It's Jacqueline by Franz Ferdinand.
Okay.
Really turned me on to them, and then I realized it was the same band as that "Take Me Out" song.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that jumps to my mind.
Nice. Top. Cool. And then so you started playing trumpet. When did you pick up the bass?
The bass was out of necessity, because in college there was an opportunity to play with a band, and they had a guitarist who was really good, my buddy Joe, and I had a bass, so I started playing in college, and then as soon as I graduated, found my way into a couple other bands and Old Eastern, and I've always had the guitar, but people want to hear me play bass more than they want to hear me play guitar.
Yeah, you're a great guitar player. We've done a few gigs where you can shred if you need to.
Yeah.
You've got great rhythm, but yeah, I've known a few people over the years who were kind of just resigned themselves to playing bass in order to be in the band, But you can't beat a great bass player, man. They really add a layer of there's just like that. There's just something that it does with if you have a good drummer and bass player combo, like all the songs just click.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, man. Any like fun college bands you played in, or like what kind of stuff did you do? Did you write songs? Were you playing covers?
Three answers. There was the jazz band I was in college, which was a lot of jazz standards and some show tunes and that sort of thing. The one group I played with, we played this ridiculous Catalina wine mixer on the 9th floor of some dorm. Like the biggest dorm they had, they bought like a pallet of Franzia boxes. You know what I mean? And everybody dressed up like the Catalina wine mixer and is that
Step Brothers?
Step Brothers, yeah. We had one of the theater kids sing. What's the song at the end?
He sings like an opera song, but
yeah.
There's also Boats and Hose was like the fun song from that movie.
We did that, and then my senior year, GWB.com, shout out again. We played a bunch of stuff. We even broke out into town. We played at the Wind Up Space. We played at Ram's Head. So we did pretty good with that. short-lived but great band. We did the Mooktacular one year, which I'm not going to tell you what that is on air, but it was a
Some
blast.
things are best kept secret.
Yeah, it's been lost with time, the translation.
That's funny. Yeah, man. I know Old Eastern has been around a while, but I think the first time I heard about it, I don't know if you had started playing with them yet, because I had done like a couple of those like local band festivals at Fish Head where there's like 30 bands and they were on the bill.
We both opened for Old Eastern like 6 months ago.
That's right.
At the Elegant City Festival.
That's right.
Okay.
I started it. He was like halfway through, and y'all finished it.
Interesting. Yeah, at La Palapas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
so
the-
funny.
That you guys are the staple for like the kind of like the Ellicott City Main Street after
Yeah.
party
Yeah.
thing. Like that's because all the
We always
all the
do that.
outside stages kind of close down, and that's like the last place everyone kind of goes to. So that's awesome.
I love La Palapas. The food in there is great. The atmosphere. They do salsa dancing apparently on Thursdays.
Nice.
I'm tempted to go.
I want to go.
You guys want to go salsa dancing?
Let's go salsa dancing. What are you doing?
Hell yeah.
Look, I did ballroom dancing with my mom for a few years, so
Okay.
I've got some skills.
They brought in a ballroom dancing lady in 8th grade. And, I've still got some steps.
Yeah, I feel like most people would be ashamed to say that, but I'm not.
Hey,
Freaking-
you know.
If you're ashamed to say that, I don't want to hang out with you.
I know, right? But yeah, so you start working on this EP. How long was like the period of starting it and finishing it?
It was recorded over 5 or 6 sessions at the Watermelon Room last November. So it's been sitting for about a year. I just we did a little bit of tweaking with it. The Crooked Plants album, I put my focus into that like as soon as I was done tracking this one. So getting the final mixes and the mastering took a little longer. But I'm happy with the product at the end. I think it sounded great. I think we started it where it was just me and an acoustic. Then we added a couple layers, and then Cuddy laid down the drums. He came in and knew exactly what to play for every part.
I feel like you guys have probably been playing together long enough that you just kind of like know how to lock in with what each other's doing.
100%, yeah.
And like who else played on it?
So the keys were Jesse USA, hired by Garrett of the Watermelon Room. Great studio musician, fantastic drummer. Never met him before that. Kind of the Chick Corea of Baltimore is my term, because all those like synth tones and stuff.
You're not
like,
the first person to say that.
Yeah. Got that on lock. Ariella Joy is singing backup.
Oh, cool.
And then my roommate Chris Stoll is doing the auxiliary percussion. Just some layers that are just tastefully thrown in the right spot.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I had noticed that there were some other flavors in there, which I thought like kind of added to it. So what I'd love to do is do like kind of like just like a little track by track, talk about each song a little bit.
Okay.
So first song, P.O.Hitos.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct.
English is my only kind of language, so I'm just doing my best here. But that was probably my favorite of the ones.
Good.
It's a great opening track, but I also like that it had like a lot of elements of what you do. Like it has the trumpet in it.
Mm-hmm.
I like kind of starts off just you on guitar and then kind of builds out from there.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me a little bit about that song.
So the translation for Piojitos from Spanish to English is head lice. The meaning, though, I don't know if this is true everywhere, but in at least El Salvador, it's kind of like when your mother or your lover or somebody is like kind of playing with your hair, like getting in there, and it feels really good. It's like an enduring thing.
Yeah.
But I guess it's called Piojitos south of the border.
That's so bizarre.
Yep.
So why'd you pick that like word? Did you have the title of the song before the song, or were you just kind of looking for the right like lyric, and that felt like the fun word to kind of throw in there? Like,
so it's a lot of major 7 tonality in that song, and that always makes me feel warm, like the warm major 7 kind of like, I don't know, like somebody with a big sweater gives you a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of where I got it from. And the lyrics outside of the English lyrics were actually from Taylor Swift's Tiny Desk. When she's not singing, she's talking about her songs, and I got a lot of the phrases and the words from what she says about her songs.
Interesting.
So kind of positive stuff, like you don't have to fight every corner of your past. I think she says something to that effect.
Interesting,
introducing, I don't remember which song it was. But yeah, I got a lot of Taylor Swift inspiration in those lyrics.
Hey, man, I wouldn't have guessed, but that's very, very interesting.
She's an incredible songwriter, no matter what
Yeah.
anybody says. Probably the best of our time, and the kindest woman in the world.
Seems very kind. Seems like a good person. I love when she talks about her songs or talks about anything because she has a way with words outside of music that I'm very jealous of. Envious of her ability.
Yeah, she's got great stage banter. She knows how to talk to her audience. She knows how to make things fun. I took my sister to see the Eras tour in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Because it was probably a lot cheaper than going to the real thing, but the theater experience was awesome.
I was in France last year, and the airplane was like half Americans that had flown there to see Taylor Swift for cheaper than getting tickets in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
They
nuts.
say she's boosted the economy everywhere she's gone more than any politician anywhere.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah.
let's talk about the power of music, right?
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
we're going to talk about, like, a songwriter who can bring people together, like, let's talk about all the dads and their daughters that are, like, having great moments right now, what she's doing right now, you know?
Yeah, it's heartwarming.
And just also know, like, she treats her employees amazing.
Oh, is that like the bonuses? Like everybody from like the truck drivers to the stage crew are getting nice fat
I just
checks.
wish more billionaires moved the way she does. You know what I mean?
Hey, that might be the solution to a lot of our problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we know? We're just bass players.
I don't know. I'm just the bassist.
So the next song is The Queen of Winter.
Yep.
Who is the Queen of Winter, and why isn't it me?
Well, you can be the Queen of Winter, Will.
We can fight for it.
I'm just
Hillary can be the Queen of Winter too.
We can all be
we're all the Queen of Winter.
That's the one from the unsolicited love poem on Instagram. I think I doctored a few of the words in that, but the bass line is kind of that like it sort of resolves into a minor 9 chord, which to me, like, if you can hear tones, makes me think of like kind of a cold, sort of snowy beach in a way, with like ships going by through the fog. That's the tone I wanted to get out of that. And there's a little bit of rain stick in the back too. I don't know if you can really notice it, but trying to just get that, like, I'm on the beach and it's snowing or hailing on me or something.
Yeah.
And like just that dark minor 9 sound, I just think of it as like a ship coming into Ocean City in the middle of winter, called the Queen of Winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you feel were you kind of looking at like the lyrics that were there and kind of trying to visualize like the type of feeling you wanted the song to have, the music part of it to have?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've done it the other way where someone will give me a piece of music.
Yeah.
And I have to sit there and really like engross myself in it and like try to find the words that match the music.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. The next song is "Save Me," which I've when I was listening to it, it kind of comes right in with that "Save Me, Girl," which I kind of likened it to like what you were saying with the feeling of isolation in like this time of year. I mean, we're in early February now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, tell me about that song.
So that started as a class project in college for I was in like a Pro Tools type of class, and that was, I think, halfway through the semester you had to record a song, and that was the one. I got the idea from a Paul McCartney song. I believe it's like early '90s Paul. Can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me. We can doctor it in later, I guess, in post.
Yeah.
Because it's like that kind of waltzy sort of 3/4 sort of sound. I got a lot of the ideas and the melodies from Paul. Not gonna take credit for them all. And the idea is like it's easy to like kind of talk bad about somebody behind their back, and then when they're there, it's like it's okay. But I've already talked bad about you, so like you gotta solve it later on. So just say nice things when you can,
Yeah. And then the last song on the EP is New Year's Resolution.
Yeah.
Which is sure to be a holiday classic, But yeah, not a lot of New Year's songs out there. So tell me about the inspiration for that.
So that one is probably the only genuine song I've ever written. So I liked the girl one time once, and I wrote that for her. And I thought that it fit with the other ones, so I'd put it on the EP. And it lands like the do-do-da-da-da. That's a major 7. And actually, I recorded another version with Tony Corelli like 10 years ago or something. And we agreed that sounds very New Year's-y, you know what I mean? Landing on that major 7 note just encapsulates you're wearing a tuxedo, you've got your champagne and the ball drops and nice lights and colors and stuff. So
nice.
Kind of.
It's like you're playing with the modes to kind of change the mood.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. And yeah, so 4-song EP, and when is that releasing?
Friday.
Nice, this Friday.
Yeah.
So that'll be, by the time this comes out, it'll probably already be out, but...
Cool.
But that's cool, yeah. But in addition to the EP, you've got a bunch of songs you've done with Old Eastern. Mm-hmm. You guys have a couple albums out. You've got a few singles. My favorite so far has been Mud Dog. I think that song just slaps.
Yeah.
But tell me about like working with them and kind of like writing with those guys and
Yeah, so we've probably got close to an album ready to go. Like the finishing touches and things. We're in a writing pattern right now. Like we don't have much on the schedule, at least until maybe summertime. So we're going to really focus on getting into a writing schedule that works, like changing the room we're writing in, changing the thought pattern just to keep it fresh. Find a niche, looking to play a lot more original only shows.
Yeah.
We have a whole night of covers that we can pull out if we want to, but kind of just want to get in front of people that love original music. Not that people that love covers don't matter, but
right.
We've been doing that for a few years, kind of flipping the script on that, and we're getting together to really hammer down some goals and like a business model that works. So yeah, super pumped on that. I think come summertime, that'll be the main thing you hear out of me is Old Eastern.
Nice. Cool. And then you had mentioned kind of working with other people. I know you play out a lot. You've probably got like a few people that you call on to do shows and stuff. What other projects have you been a part of that you're kind of excited about, you want to share? Yeah,
so the most recent release was the Crooked Plants album, which is kind of like an indie psych kind of sound. That came out, I believe, I want to say early fall last year. Super psyched on that. We've got 3 or 4 songs to record coming up with that to do. I don't know what we're going to do with it. It might just be singles. It might be an EP. It might be another album. Had a really good show a few weeks ago opening for a band called Twen, who I'd never heard before, and it was probably my favorite show of last year.
Nice.
Really cool touring band. They live in a van and they travel the country playing music, kind of the American dream. I'll tell you what. So that's been a fun project. I play a lot with the Hollow Truths. I just saw Brett earlier, popped by the house for a little bit. We played at Don't Know Tavern last night, which is cool. It's outlaw country through like a 90s grunge lens. So that's been a fun project to work with. Recorded on a few of his songs. The Big Layered Band, which is some of the same members as the Hollow Truths, kind of like an 80s tribute type of act.
Okay.
Which has been a lot of fun. It's just cool doing like Ozzy Osbourne stuff well, like and that like big Led Zeppelin songs and stuff that I don't get to do a lot of other places, which is a lot of fun. And I'll also cook some stuff up with the Man in Flames. We played a few gigs. I love Taylor's originals.
Yeah.
They sound great. Keeping busy.
Yeah, it's funny. We've got like this little circle, like almost everyone that you talk about. It's like, yep, they went on the podcast. Yep, love those guys.
Aren't we playing a gig with Man in Flames?
Yeah,
Okay.
Taylor is like my keyboard player extraordinaire, and so he's been doing a lot of gigs with me, and so that's another reason why he's on that gig is so that at the end we can all team up and have a super group performance.
I love that.
So, but yeah, so yeah, I'm just there's a lot of great. You know, you've offered me a lot of really cool gigs. You know, we did the Cup last year, Admiral's Cup. You know, we did a bunch of those casino gigs at Maryland Live. Those are pretty fun. But yeah, man, like you've got a pretty, you've got a lot of cool stuff going on. You know, like and do you have a day job too?
Yeah, so I was doing music full time mostly last year. Now I'm actually back in the mortgage game.
Okay.
So if you need a cash out refinance on your house or a streamline, lower that interest rate and payment, call me up. I know people.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of different people that are, I think, would love to get into it more full time, but it's a lot of work to maintain and keep it going. And like we were saying earlier, there's not really a lot of money in it. You know, even bars that are doing well don't really want to pay that much for a band.
Yeah.
Like you kind of gotta hope you get lucky with the right place that's willing to take care of you.
Or get somebody who does good merch. I heard somebody in your band has real good merch.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So maybe we should work on some of that.
Shameless plug for Nick and Molly.
Yeah,
at
the Old Eastern Ink Shop.
Yeah.
We did I did the podcast in their shop, which was a lot of fun.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah.
They're super cool. I hadn't met them before. They made
they're
that
awesome.
so awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
I love that they they like work with the people to get their design like right. Like
they put my name on the shirt. Do you know how cool I felt? I was like, what? Oh my god! Like you guys have been such a staple. Can I ask a burning question?
Yes, go for it.
Since music, like we're all talking about, is not the moneymaker. Like for me, I'm disabled. Has to pay most of my bills. So with music, money's not always coming in. What keeps you staying with music? What is the passion for you? Because like you talked about how you got into it almost and switching from trumpet to bass almost out of necessity, and it wasn't really something that you were interested in at first. Like when did that passion really like come up that you were like, I can't stop doing this, man?
I don't know if I'm not playing, I feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah, so when did that happen for you?
Probably. Maybe I was working like 70, 80 hours at a job right out of college while playing. And when there were times when I'd be doing that for 80 hours, I'd be like, man, I've just pissed this week away. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So I started gigging a lot. It's kind of in your blood. Like,
yes.
it is kind of addictive because, like, I haven't been playing as much recently, and I'm just kind of, like, spiraling a little bit. Like, why am I mad at the wall? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even hungry. Why am I eating this? Like, it's like you got to do stuff with your hands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of that. I mean, that's almost one of the reasons I started the podcast was because, like, this is kind of the slow season, so I was like, I need something to do, but, and I wanted to be kind of music adjacent. I mean, I've had all kinds of different people on, but essentially there's a chance to hang out with like musicians that I know, and like, because how many gigs you go to where you see people and like the most you can get out of them is like, hey, what's up? It's good to see you. All right, I gotta
set,
run.
Man. Great set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've all known who each other were for a decade.
Yeah.
Professionally and respected each other. But we haven't all sat in a room together and had a conversation.
It's crazy, isn't it?
The same exact stage on the same exact day.
Right.
And this is the first time we're really getting to like know each other.
We should all hang out,
We should.
Like outside of the shows.
Hey,
like
I live right on
Well,
the
that's
water.
kind of
Go
what
down
this was. It was like,
anytime.
like let's just hang out. Let's talk about
I just sit there and
the
watch
stuff we
birds all
enjoy.
day. I sit there with my little bass. I play blues all day. Little 12-bar blues. Watch birds. That's all I need.
What's your favorite bird?
It depends on the season. Right now, we've got the migratory tundra swan. The trumpeter swans are there, and they are trumpeting, they love it. They
Yeah.
come from Alaska every year.
Oh, cool.
And then when they leave, the osprey come in. But my favorite bird is the albatross.
Albatross. That's a fun word. Yeah. I like those.
It's also a great song.
Okay, that's where I know it from. Yeah. I grew up next to a bird sanctuary, so I'm not just being facetious. Like I grew up
Really?
the Word Museum
We were
in
just talking
Salisbury.
about- He asked what got me into music, and I was like, well, my dad used to ask me, like, what bird is that? What sound is that on a record? Like, literally full circle here.
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
funny.
Small world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to we're going to be doing a rehearsal down there
Yeah,
at your
next
place
weekend,
next
if you
weekend.
want.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
but yeah, man. So you got a lot of cool stuff going on. What's you don't know you've got the Old Eastern stuff coming up. Any other cool stuff in the pipeline?
Cool stuff in the pipeline. Yeah.
Are you going to do any kind of like release celebration for the EP, or you just kind of like putting it out there?
So at this point, I'm so slammed. I had planned to do something, but I think I'm going to release it and then do like a open mic tour and play them acoustic.
Okay.
And just kind of start there. Like I don't have like a release party or anything. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet.
Yeah.
Because I had another EP finished before this one, but it felt like a sequel more than a starting point.
Okay.
So I think this stuff is a bit more accessible. So if somebody discovers it on there, it'll be a little friendlier. Not that the other stuff isn't listenable, but it's a little. It's my COVID album actually, stuff I wrote in my room during COVID. So it's like, I don't say darker, but a little proggier. I don't know. I think that it would make a good follow-up more so than a good starter.
Okay.
For something under
Interesting.
the B. Clarke brand.
Cool, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I think any chance there's definitely an element of like I know at least for me when I decided to go the solo route was, kind of that freedom to just do what you want, and I know you've still got your band and you've still got like a lot of other projects you're working, but there's definitely something great about having that outlet if you've got the songs to put
Yeah.
out. So definitely keep doing it, man. I look forward to hearing what's next.
Appreciate it.
I was really enjoying the EP. It like, obviously I hear like kind of what you do in Old Eastern in there, but your vocal styling is very like kind of classical to me. It kind of reminds me of like old school singers, like almost like Frank Sinatra. Just kind of not necessarily like you're not like trying to sing and do all this fancy stuff. You're just kind of like it's almost like you're just kind of talking to the
It's like
listener.
Peck energy.
Yeah,
just like almost like conversational, but yeah.
I'm just thinking like kind of sleazy lounge singer in like a
Yeah,
hotel
yeah.
bar, like.
We should do a show together.
We should,
This
yeah.
is the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could all do like our own original songs
That's
for
what
like
I'm
an
saying.
hour.
All
Yeah,
of us have originals.
yeah, that'd
All
be
right,
cool.
sounds like we're booking another date.
Super
Yeah.
group.
Well, I'm working on more of like the songwriter shows. Like I got the one in March, but I'm trying to like get with some other venues
Okay.
and do like a few of them throughout the year.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do one like that
That'd
and we
be
get you
cool.
together and then we
Always
can
show
all.
up, so
Yeah. We
there's
should do,
always
like, a
gonna be at least
round.
two of us. Huh?
We should do like a round. Like when I was in Nashville, it was like 3 people on a stage, and like you just trade songs. You tell the story about
Yeah,
the song,
yeah.
and you say great song, and then you go on to the next
Just
one.
switch each other. Yeah, that would be so
Man,
fun.
great song, man.
Yeah.
We should. Yeah.
It was funny. You were talking about the going to the local shows thing, and it made me think of this like one of those reels, like Instagram reels, and it was like being in a band going to see another band, and so it's like them like reluctantly going into the venue, and then they're like sitting there watching the band, and they're like, this guitar tone sucks. And it's just like,
I'm the
yeah, snare sounds thin. But then, like, when they're done, they come up, dude, great set, man, great set. We should do a show together, like, saying all this stuff. Like, I was just
I'll be the one
cracking up
wearing the
about
t-shirt
that.
in the front row, singing every word of every. I'm just gonna like
Yeah.
hype up everybody I can, because to me that's what being a bass player is. It's like I'm the band's hype man.
Pretty much, yeah.
You definitely have that energy, and I respect it. I was shocked when you said you played the trumpet.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's a bass player.
Well, Flea also plays the trumpet.
Oh, that's right.
There's one
I
other
just
guy
read his
too.
book, too.
Yeah. I haven't read Fleas. I have the Anthony Kiedis one, but it's
we should swap. Well,
there's so much questionable stuff in
I was
this
gonna
book.
say, I don't know if I want to read it. I can lend you, please.
I can only
read Fleas.
imagine.
I feel like Fleas like relatively.
Wholesome, kind humans only.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Yeah.
Cool. So before we wrap up, I've got like some fun questions I like to throw out there,
Alright.
just like little like brain teasers.
Hit me.
Some people love them, some people hate them, but So here's an easy one. What's an album you could listen to on repeat?
The first Crosby, Stills and Nash album. The one with the picture is them on a porch somewhere, just kind of like a candid. I could listen to that one ad nauseum. And probably the new King Gizzard one, the Flight B741. Just every song on that is golden. There's 2 albums.
Nice. All right. Have you ever had like a musical fantasy, like thinking about like man, I'd love to play with this band, or I wish I was in this band, or something along them lines?
Yeah, my fantasy got squashed. I'll tell you what. I was looking into playing on a Norwegian cruise line, being a bass player on a cruise ship, and the contract I was looking at, I didn't sign anything, but it was gonna leave like the first week of March 2020, and I didn't do it. I just didn't sign the paperwork.
You
And
left out.
I would have been stuck on that boat for like a year probably in
Here's the other
quarantine.
thing. I know a bass player, like upright bass player,
Yeah.
who was in an accident working on a cruise ship. He broke his back on the cruise ship and spent like the next 10 years freaking recovering.
Oh, my
You
God.
dodged a bullet, my dude.
Yeah, I could have had a broken back. I
You
could have been
could've.
stuck on the ship forever.
With COVID.
Oh, man, things were great in Baltimore, I'll tell you what.
Isolation was way better.
Yes.
All right, here's kind of a weird one. What's like a weird food combination that you enjoy?
So sometimes I put my chicken nuggets in my fettuccine Alfredo and mix it up.
Interesting.
That's a weird one.
I could see that being like a tasty combination.
I did an affogato for breakfast today. A little scoop of ice cream in my coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that. Like I said, a creamer. But here's I'm a vegan, so it'll be like non-dairy ice cream. So I'd be like big scoop of Ben and Jerry's, a
Yeah.
tiny bit of coffee.
So when you get the non-dairy, is that not the froyo from Ben and Jerry's?
No, like it's real ice cream.
Oh, okay. Just
I've tricked people with it.
Oh wow. I've gotten it
It's
before.
good.
Because usually when I have ice cream, it's like I have a pint at like midnight, and then
You
it's
see, the good thing about it is though, and like all my friends who love ice cream and food as much as I do say, like the best thing about a pint of Ben and Jerry's non-dairy ice cream is you don't have like the stomach ache the next morning,
yeah.
but you get to enjoy all of it. And I was like, I never thought of that. I should have been using all kinds of propaganda, but no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a song that you're kind of like embarrassed to admit you like, or is like kind of like a guilty pleasure type of song for you?
I stand by all my musical choices.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like, I think because music's so much more readily available today, it's so much easier to enjoy more of it. All right, cool. If you could go back in time and experience any concert, what would you want to go see?
I'd go back to the 1970s Paris to see Cortex.
Okay,
This like proggy fusion band, like jazz fusion band.
interesting.
From like the Parisian scene in the 70s. I'd go back for that. I'd have my baguette and my red wine, and I'd be ready to go.
Why them? Did they have like really cool shows, or was it just like is that just like the kind of music? Like, is it like that, like a band that's not around anymore that like you wish you could have seen?
That kind of music, I feel like it doesn't happen organically anymore. It's like a tribute act at this point. I just think that would have been a really cool, like the French jazz scene in the 70s, man. I would have loved to have been part of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it would. I think about different answers every time I ask that question. I always wonder, like, what it would have been like to go see like Bach or Beethoven do like a concert live. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, what was it like? What were you saying to the person next to you? Like,
Yeah.
what was like yo, this is great. What are we doing after
Yeah,
this?
yeah, man, let's go not get the plague after this. I don't know if that's historically accurate, but you know.
What would you say to that question?
Which one?
Go back to a scene at any point in time.
Like
The
a
problem
concert.
is I would not act right if I went back to any point in time that I wanted to. I would go back and change things in a very, very fundamental way that would make a lot of white men very angry.
Alter the course of history.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would be bad, and we all know that I shouldn't do that, so I shouldn't answer that question. I'm glad you didn't ask me these, because for all of them, I've been like, oh! No, don't say that out loud. I know, wait.
Well, I will put it this way: we could alter the behavior of white men today and solve the problems down the road.
That'd be great, too. I
Organically.
will also accept that. I am sitting in a room with two white men who are not at all toxic. So I think we're already one step up.
Yeah, we're winning.
We're working on it. We're trying to spread the love. Well, Brendan, thank you for doing this, buddy. Look forward to everyone hearing the EP, and keep making great music, man.
Likewise, man.
Check out Brendan Clarke's Late Winter EP, now available on all streaming services.